The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. On October 8th and 9th, the StarCityGames.com Open Series comes to Nashville, and this event is going to be huge. We're talking hundreds of players, over $14,000 in cash prizes, at least 18 players qualify for the Charlotte Invitational at the end of the year. Live coverage all day long courtesy of SCG Live, and as much Magic the Gathering as we can pack into one weekend. So make plans to join StarCityGames.com in Nashville, and we'll see you there. Hello everybody and welcome back to our Innistrad set review. Today we're going to talk about the black cards here with Gerry Thompson, professional player, author, all-around awesome human being. Curmudgeon. That's my favorite description for you.
Yeah, I know.
It's in a
use it all the time.
It's in a good way.
I love it.
I love it. All right, so Abbott or Ghoul starts us off in the black cards. Now, it is an uncommon. How do you feel about it?
This card sucks. Just living up to the curmudgeon.
Oh, sorry.
No. Good limited.
Yeah?
No constructed applications whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely not. But, you know, it's one of those that's very difficult to block.
Yep.
You may get some value out of it. 4 mana, 3/2. Seems fine. Moving on. Altar's Reap. Now, this is an interesting card.
Do I need to say this with every instant or sorcery that, like, it's good with Snapcaster Mage? Or is it, can we just assume that?
Well, partly you can assume, but I guess if it's sick enough, then you should mention it, because that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
4 mana divination, essentially.
Yeah.
Into their turn. Instant divination. With Snapcaster.
Yeah.
Or with any random token. It's pretty good. So, you know, you feel this is constructed viable?
There probably won't be a deck that plays like 4 of them. I'll probably have like 1 in a couple of decks. I have like some green-black birthing pod decks, you know, like Perilous Mirrors and Glissa and Heartless Summoning. Stuff like that. So this card's like okay in that type of deck too.
Yeah. Seems good. Things that want to die. So Army of the Damned we were just talking about. I like this card so much.
I do too.
There was just
I wish that this was a viable finisher where you just play like no creatures and then one of these or whatever, and it has flashback for, you know, whatever reason.
Flashback for value.
So you can just like gifts or intuition for it or something, but like the cards are too good, unfortunately. So
An 8 mana, 3 of it being black sorcery, I don't think is really going to start taking over the metagame.
No.
But it's just one of those cards like I want it to be good. I really want it to be good. But there's all sorts of cards like that I want it to be good. Bitterheart Witch was being discussed by Flores and BDM to go find the curse, that the Night of Souls Betrayal curse that gives all their creatures -1/-1.
I mean, are you going to play like 4 of this card and 4 of those curses and just try and assemble a million curses?
Like
what if they don't
deck,
have
really?
What if they don't have that many creatures in their deck?
I mean, the curse deck, just by description, sounds a little sketchy.
Yes. I mean, if there was an awesome curse, then this would be like Academy Rector, you know?
Like if the curse costs like 9 or something insane.
Yeah, and if it did insane stuff. But right now, they're just like nickel and diming people, like 2 cards here, 1 point of damage here. Like,
-1/-1. Like, that's the most powerful thing you can do.
Yeah.
Is -1/-1 all the creatures. And that's nice, but it's the same mana cost, and you're not gaining any mana when she dies. She's a 1/2 for 5 mana. You know,
she trades with something.
She does. She's got the death touch. I mean, obviously they tried to give her a little bit of value, but ultimately I feel it's cute.
It is cute.
Blood Gift Demon.
Awesome and limited. Dies to dismember and constructed. Rats.
Dang. That's a fine card though.
It is.
I feel like I love Phyrexian Arena. I love Phyrexian Arena.
Me too.
And this is Phyrexian Arena. And it's more versatile because we were just talking about how, you know, if you're at 1 life, you don't die.
Yeah.
You just make them draw a card. Like, that says target player. That is something to you know, it's nice because it's multiplayer friendly, but ultimately it doesn't kill you out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, it is funny that's like, okay, I'm at 1 life, so I gotta make him start drawing cards, but they're just gonna kill you anyway, probably, you know, unless you're very far ahead.
Right.
But
but letting them draw cards, it's just one of those, it's like you don't die automatically. And that's appreciated. Now, Bloodline Keeper, I think, is going to be fantastic in a set or two.
This is another one of those cards that it's awesome at 4 mana, and if it was 5 mana, it'd just be unplayable. But at 4 mana, it's definitely very good, and would probably be awesome if there was still like Vampire Lacerators and Pulse Trackers. And
I mean, ultimately, if you see, Bloodline Keeper, I think that it's amazing that it makes flyers.
Yeah.
I think they pushed the card in that, they may have had it tapped to make a 2/2 or tapped to make a 1/1 with flying, but this makes 2/2 flyers, which is a unique and sort of powerful, option. And when it transforms, it still makes those 2/2 flyers, and then it's double Glorious Anthem. Like, it's made to be, I think, a good card with the right supporting cast that they'll give it soon enough.
Yeah, hopefully.
Brain Weevil, I played against this card. At the pre-release, it was used to help turn on the Stitch Drake, for example. I discard 2, and then they played a 3/4 flyer thanks to being able to sacrifice this guy. So, I mean, ultimately not the most exciting mind rot in the world, but...
That's fine, and there's like some options, and there's like the morbid stuff too,
Yep.
It's playable, definitely not exciting.
Right.
Feels more like an uncommon than a common.
It does feel like an uncommon. That's really interesting. That you can get rid of 2 cards and turn on all of the morbid stuff with a common creature. But, maybe Black needed it. So up next is a Bump in the Night, and amazing card name.
Yeah.
Fantastic flavor. Lava Spike.
Lava Spike with flashback. Yeah. I don't think the decks that play Lava Spike typically get to 6 mana to flash this back. But kind of like Forbidden Alchemy, like, it's there if you want it.
Like it's long-term value, right?
Yeah.
So, Black-Red Vampires is a thing. Do you feel like this card could actually get there?
No, I think you'd rather just play a burn spell that could kill a creature as well.
Yeah, I think ultimately you'd probably just Brimstone Volley before you would Bump in the Night.
Yeah.
But this is a card like I do like it. I feel like it is
cool.
better. It's better than I feel it looks, which isn't great. But it's even better than it looks isn't that much better, is it?
No.
Corpse Lunge is, interesting.
Yeah. Kill something, got to work for it a little bit, but
It's one of those, it's a beautiful design in a graveyard-based set, for a black removal spell, because they needed one.
what's the black card from Rise? Induce Paranoia or something, where you reveal a card? This seems kind of like that.
Yeah.
But it seems more difficult. So I'm surprised this doesn't cost like black or maybe 1 and a black.
It could probably cost less. It's nice because Induce Paranoia, again, that was one of those awesome cards that it fed into the theme of things are very expensive.
Yeah.
And so you can reveal an 8-drop and give -8/-8. And this is, sort of the other half of on the graveyard side. You got all this stuff in the graveyard, so you just exile something and get them. But, 3 mana, it probably didn't need to be 3 mana. But, things cost what they cost. Now, in regards to Curse of Death's Hold, 1 more than a Knight of Souls Betrayal.
Yeah, but it's much better than Knight of Souls Betrayal.
Way better.
So.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like this is actually going to be a player in Constructed?
It could be.
Yeah.
Depends on what kind of creatures are running around. If there's little red guys, then yeah, this kills them, but they're probably going to deal you a ton of damage before you get to cast that. If it's little white guys, then it gets a lot better. Like you stabilize with this, they can't really burn you out, that type of thing.
Right.
But
yeah, this feels like it's the perfect antithesis to a Kuldotha Rebirth, except the Kuldotha Rebirth deck should be like killing you by the time this has to do with anything.
Again, the difference between 4 and 5 mana is very huge.
Yeah.
But
and this shows it. So Curse of Oblivion feels like an interesting niche limited card
yeah,
at best.
I don't even think this really does anything for limited.
I mean, I feel like if you're trying to wreck the blue deck that needs to exile creatures from the graveyard, it's not going to do what you want it to do because they're going to set up a situation where they Forbidden Alchemy or they mill themselves a Millican or they used the Brain Weevil in a blue-black deck to get a card in the graveyard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's a ways to play around this card that aren't available,
maybe if
otherwise.
they didn't get to choose or something, like then it would have better applications, but as such, it does not seem all that good.
If you got to choose.
Yeah, then it'd be a little bit better.
Yeah, then I think it would be much more playable. Now, Deadweight is interesting in that, they made weakness, they made a better weakness.
That is true. I didn't think about that.
But, it's just like you needed Disfigure, and people wait, the Black Shock. How many years did we wait for the Black Shock?
Yeah.
And now they're like, whatever, let's put it on Enchant Creature.
Yeah. Disfigure, I think I would rather have so I can kill like a haste creature or use some mana on their turn or whatever. But this is nice for limited where you can just like shrink their 4/4 and now your 3/3 is good against it. And, that always happens. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems 100% playable in every black deck because it's, it's Disfigure, and Disfigure was always played, and this seems just as good. Speaking of awesome black 1-drops, I love this guy, Diregraph Ghoul. The Samaru. They gave us a Samaru. Literally reprinted a Samaru.
I don't know if I would rather have it be a zombie or a vampire.
Ooh, that's a good point. I would have liked this to have turned on the Bloodline Keeper, being a vampire. I think would have been nice. But, ultimately, I think it's nice. It's wonderfully flavorful in that, it comes into the battlefield tapped because it's a slow zombie. Mm-hmm. It's still powerful in that it is in the Samaru, and it is a 1-mana 2/2, and they always try to come up with very creative ways to make those happen. And, just a really nicely designed card.
Unfortunately, not too many playable zombies yet.
Yeah. You think they're going to make zombies a tribe that actually impact constructed?
I don't know. They give you a Samaru, trying to do something.
That's a good 1-drop. Now, Disciple of Gristlebrand. I played against this in Limited. It is a card that can sort of take you out of the jaws of defeat. Because they're bearing down on you, and then all of a sudden you're blocking, and you're sacking dudes, and you're gaining life, and then you're getting back. It's a very tempo-based card.
Yes, you'd still have to have a lot of stuff going on in order for this to not cause you to lose the game, basically. Because the 2-mana 1/1, you're down a card, and then you're sacking guys that you would rather have in play to gain life, to get more turns. Now you're down 2 cards. So.
Sure. This was a card where, in my experience, what had happened was it was a blue-black deck, and it had Fortress Crabs and things, 1/6s, and 1/6s that block all day. And so I was attacking with my 7/7 werewolves, and my opponent could then block with a 1/6 and then gain 6 life off of it, which was not a small amount of life to gain.
Yeah, but
that swing.
That's not a real big deal unless they have flyers clocking you at the same time, So it's they have to have the 1/6 is that thing, flyers, they have to not be dead. You can't kill their flyers. It's just
obviously all those things happened.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. But when you find yourselves in those situations, good card. Now, Endless Ranks of the Dead, best art of the set in my opinion. The artwork is unbelievable. The stained glass and the zombies coming through and the amazing angel on it, and as a card, doesn't seem super exciting right now. It may be better if
not enough zombies.
Yeah.
What are you going to start the doubling up process with exactly?
Right, the Diregraph Ghoul. Do we really want there to be a Vampire Nighthawk that's a zombie? You know what I mean? A zombie-esque.
I'm fine with Nighthawk.
Yeah. Nighthawk's fine. Falcon Wrath Noble. Now this card was very annoying and limited because
this is a good 4-mana 2/2 flyer.
Oh yeah, this is the special ability that you really want on these types of limited bread and butter type cards. So for me, it's once this card is on the board, everything it gets really difficult sometimes to trade.
Combat becomes tricky.
It actually works really well with the aforementioned Disciple. Disciple, all of a sudden you can sort of drain them out of nowhere, which is nice. But
this isn't a May. It's not a May ability.
Oh, no, it's not.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you literally, you can't make them forget about it, which was always sort of the key to these types of cards, I felt, was to try to mind trick them where you didn't get blown out. But not quite the case. Now, Ghoul Caller's Chant. What do you feel about that?
This was actually the card that made me go searching for zombies.
Ha!
I was like, ooh, I could play some of this. If vampires had a card like this, it'd be pretty good, return a Highborn and a 1-drop. But, yeah, there was the Isamaru, a Grizzly Bear, a Lord, a 3-mana Gravedigger that I think is the next card, and then Skin Render.
Yeah.
And I was just Call to the Grave, and it's not quite there yet.
But it's value.
It is.
It is value, and those spells I like quite a bit. Now, Ghoul Razor is one of those cards that R&D did a very specific thing in that all of the regrowth effects are random. And or everyone except the green card that returns all of one type. But, you know, all of these types of effects are random, so that you can't create degenerate type game states. How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it. It's nice that graveyard order doesn't really matter in standard, so you're allowed to just, like, you know, shuffle them up or whatever. But in Legacy, I could imagine that being kind of weird. You know, where you have like this 20 card graveyard, you have like 7 like zombies maybe that you could return with this, and you have to like roll a die for. It could get crazy, and you can't like pull them out of your graveyard and shuffle them because you have to put them back.
Right.
So it doesn't really play too well with like those older formats, but
in terms of limited, seems like a fantastic limited card.
Yeah.
3 mana 2/2. You know, like Gravedigger was always great, and it's a little, you know, obviously is exact in that Gravedigger got back anything, and this gets back just zombies. But you know, playing the black deck,
if they print some more good zombies, some good aggressive ones, that card's fine for constructed.
Yeah. So gruesome deformity, one of those cards that exists to make other cards look better.
Skill tester.
Skill tester. And it's one of those, I love this because, you know, it really is like when you learn how to play Magic and you get this card in your hand and you go like, should I play this in limited or should I play this in constructed?
Yeah.
You have to be able to say to yourself, no, should not ever play this. Like even, no, just don't. It's a wonderfully bad card.
Yeah.
And I like those because they need to exist to make the good cards look good.
And there's very few of those cards in these sets now. There's so many playables in all your limited decks, which kind of sucks. I wish there were more of them, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So, Heartless Summoning. This is a absolute build around me card.
Yeah.
You know, I think you hear two halves of this story. You hear the first half is that it is a soul ring that never goes away, and that is incredibly powerful.
Yes.
And the other half that you hear is that the variance is so high that if you don't draw your Heartless Summoning, your deck doesn't do anything. So, why play it? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those where it feels like, and the card that for some reason keeps popping back in my mind, you remember Cream of the Crop?
Yeah.
From Morning Tide? That card was just like, you know, when you get that on the battlefield and you're playing dudes and you're starting to like impulse your head off and you're doing all this crazy stuff, it's on. And that deck is sweet. But when you don't draw that and you're just playing like dorks, then you're just playing dorks. So if you have all of these, you know, Heartless Summonings in your deck and they're not on the battlefield where they're supposed to be, you're not getting all this value. Your Mirror Superions aren't free.
Glissa. Perilous Mirror.
Yeah.
This.
Blech.
And then you play like Solemns, Ragers, Birthing Pod, some 6-drops.
Yeah.
I think that's the deck.
You think Birthing Pod, Heartless Summoning is going to be a thing?
Yeah.
Green-black Heartless Summoning Pod?
Could play Tezzeret.
Ooh.
Got a lot of artifacts.
Yeah.
Tezzeret's weren't that good, but
It's fair. It's a card full of potential, and that's what I like about it.
yeah, I imagine there's something you can do in like Legacy with this card, but
Seems scary. Fair enough. So, the weapon, as was described by Mr. Forsyth, Liliana of the Veil.
this card's awesome.
Card is so sick. I've gotten to play with it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's so good. How do you feel about her at this point?
It's one of those cards that it's really hard to tell that you're losing to it because it's like, you know, they're nickel and diming you, and they get a lot of value off of it, and then eventually you just die, and you're like, I don't know what happened.
God, Liliana, she's a wonderful, awesome planeswalker. She makes me so happy. So, man or skeleton, which side do you fall on?
Skeleton.
This is actually my favorite card to knock someone out of the Great Designer Search. This card would have gotten them lambasted. They would have been completely destroyed over this card. Like, what are you doing? Black with haste, that's a regenerator, it's a 1/1, like what? I just feel like this is a double standard card. This is a card they would have killed someone that wasn't an R&D making this.
Yeah, I don't get it. They have to be way smarter than me.
Why does it have haste? I don't even understand. I guess it's, you know, the horror trope of like the skeleton's coming to get you type thing. Like, is that how they're going to sell this? Because otherwise it feels like...
But then the digraph ghoul comes into play tap because you know it's slow. I don't imagine the skeletons are very fast.
Apparently skeletons are faster than zombies. Markov Patrician, 3/1 lifelink for 3.
Playable.
Playable.
Not exciting, but
Yeah. It's not anything you gotta spend a lot of time talking about. It's you know, it's a 3-mana 3/1. It's going to die to a lot of things. It's going to die to stuff like Doom Traveler, so
Yeah.
it's not that great. It really is a very fragile card. Maw of the Mire, another sort of like bread and butter, black kills land sometimes. You get bonuses off of it. Like there was one in World Wake, I believe they discarded a card.
yeah.
You know, here's one you gain 4 life, sure.
I'm glad this Stone Rain is not a thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're not printing good Stone Rains.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I remember playing back in those days, you know, with Magnivores and
Yeah.
all that stuff,
That-
and
that wasn't
wildfires,
cool.
and it was just, you know, it's a very demoralizing thing when land destruction is good.
Yeah, they want you to be able to like play the game, or at least have the illusion that you're playing the game, and not getting like Snapcastered and Liliana'd. You know, they want you to play all your spells and not
Right.
get frustrated and have it be enjoyable. So
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, you have more fun when you're able to play your spells. So land destruction, while I think a lot of people want it to be good, don't
Sickos.
understand. Yeah, they don't understand what it actually does to everyone else.
yeah,
So, Moan of the Unhallowed. How you feel about that one?
this card's cool.
Yeah.
Probably not very good and constructed, you know, but
Yeah.
this is the type of card that's just like value, you know. I want it to be good and constructed.
I do too. And I tried it. I just felt like it was a little. It's just not. It's no.
Yeah, not there.
There's so many other things you could be doing for 4 mana. Now it does flashback, which is great, which helps it in the you know, like the Forbidden Alchemy deck or what have you. But ultimately, it's
We can
a
do
fun
better.
card. We can do better now. Morkrut, really?
I don't know.
Morkrut Banshee
FTK, sort of.
is. This card was interesting in that I was playing against Eric Klug of the awesome Klug Altars, and he had this card in his hand. And once he got behind, the card was essentially he couldn't cast it because I would never block any of his guys,
Yeah.
and he couldn't, you know, obviously play it on my turn. So
It's pretty funny.
the awesome 4/4 just did not much. So
I mean, normally this card's going to be insane and limited,
yes, absolutely.
and you have the option of birthing potting into it off a skin render and just like killing a guy and killing a guy and killing a guy if you want to do
Absolutely.
that. But
Yeah, this is one of those where, like, you know, Birthing Pod makes all the morbid creatures amazing, but it is actually it's interesting to me that, you know, there are times in which this card is actually just not that great.
Yeah.
You're actually struggling to make it worthwhile, and that's interesting to me. Night Terrors is, you know, yet another discard variant.
yeah, random coercion,
Yeah,
playable and limited if they have a bomb. Might see play and block if format's low enough.
yeah. I mean, it is different than Coercion in that it does exile the card, which is important in a flashback
true. Yeah.
type block. But ultimately, never going in constructed may make some limited. You know, I mean, if you have to answer their bomb or something.
Yeah, gotta do what you gotta do.
Sure, why not? Reaper from the Abyss. Do you feel this card is in any way constructed playable?
No, it's not a Titan.
Yep. Is it a Titan? Nope.
What's the point of making a 6-mana 6/6?
Because if a creature died this turn, you destroy a target non-demon creature.
So block, I guess.
Block. Yep. Rotting Fen Snake.
The Drossadile returns.
Get you. 5/1. Rawr. All right, so Screeching Bat. Like this card in limited.
Yeah, seems cool. Good flavor,
Yeah.
but constructed.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. Actually, it's funny to me in limited that you may not want to flip it because, you know, there's plenty of ground guys who can sort of gum up the board
Yeah.
versus a 2/2 flyer that actually get there. So that's kind of neat, ultimately. Sever the Bloodline. A wonderfully flavorful spell.
Yeah, it's all right. I've seen people play this in their Solar Flare decks. Like, it's nice to mill yourself and hit a removal spell, even if it does cost 7. You know, so
Yeah, I mean, you know, it does give you an option from the graveyard to handle something.
Yeah.
And that is rare right now in Standard. So people are going to play it regardless of how much it costs, essentially. Skeletal Grimace, one of the freakiest looking cards
yeah,
in the set. Looks pretty ridiculous foil. Got to see it foil, and then the eyes are all like freaky, crazy, shiny and stuff, which is sweet. Yeah, how do you feel? How playable is this in limited?
doesn't seem too relevant. Maybe if they have some giant werewolves or something, you can to stop those, but doesn't do enough.
Yeah. Just not enough value, unfortunately, I feel. Stag High Priest is I mean, so many things have to go right with this card for it to
I would still
provide.
always play this card, though.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like it's worth playing in that, you know, it causes your opponent to play differently and play oddly, but it is
Something has to die eventually.
yeah. Even if you're sacking your own brain weevil thing, whatever it was.
Yeah.
You know, and then you tap some guys, and then you make a 5/5 demon with flying, which is pretty sweet. You know, and it's during anybody's turn, which is also nice. Not have to play as a sorcery. So there are upsides, and it is a limited bomb. Looks like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, seems fine. Okay. Strom Kirk Patrol.
Random duder.
Random Duder guy. 5 mana, 4/3 that gets larger. So, I mean, there is this theme with the vampires, and we'll see this more with red, that whenever they deal damage to a player, they get a +1/+1 counter. I find this actually, I think, a lot more interesting than if they have 10 or less life, then they get the bonus, you know? Because that's sort of the thing in Zendikar was that if they had 10 or less life, things happened. So it's nice that these cards get value really quickly, but ultimately we're trying to make a 5 mana 4/3 sound interesting.
Yeah.
It's
Not-
not that interesting.
Not very easy to do.
Nope. Okay, so Tribute to Hunger.
I like this one. I've seen this in a few main decks, a couple sideboards.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
good.
there's like Invisible Stalker, the Geist, red decks. I mean, this is an instant.
The Geist of St. Traft will be a thing and will need to be answered.
Yeah.
And so if Geth's Verdict doesn't get the nod, then Tribute to Hunger very well may be.
I think if you play a deck like Blue Black Control, you want some Sorin's Thirst or like this in your sideboard. Red deck is still a thing.
Fair enough. So Typhoid Rats, another one of those cards that I'm really glad exists. I'm just a 1 mana 1/1 Death Touch. It is what it is.
Can we get like a psionic gift or anything? Nothing?
No, you can't. Man. Unbreathing Horde, how you feel about that card?
I have to read it.
Okay, here we go.
A lot of text.
A lot of zombie text. A lot of zombiness.
There's not enough zombies. And I think they know this because it's only 3 mana.
Yeah.
It's like they knew.
Well, I mean, you know, they're gonna be more zombies, and more zombies makes this not quite as fringe. Not quite. It's cool in your zombie deck at home.
It is.
It is totally sweet in your EDH zombie deck. Totally sweet in your kitchen table zombie deck. Probably gonna be pretty sweet in limited.
You think so?
If you draft all the zombies,
Are there enough?
probably not yet.
All right.
All right, fine. But it's going to be sweet in EDH and casual, okay? I'm looking for something. So up next is Unbearable Rights. Now, I feel this card is going to be one of the defining cards in Standard.
This card is very good.
Yeah. Like, I know that I was waiting, you know, as the set was being released and spoiled, and I was just like, okay, where's the reanimation spell?
Yeah.
Like, I hope it's good, right? And I certainly was not expecting a flashback on it
Yeah.
for a reanimation spell.
And this is very, very good.
Yeah, like the fact that they have sort of just pushed the Solar Flare, Esper Control type, Liliana, Forbidden Alchemy stuff, like it all works, it all gels.
Yeah, all the pieces are there. The mana's a little rough.
Yeah.
Which might be its undoing, actually. But aside from all that, like Forbidden Alchemy fuels this type of deck really well. Unburial Rights and Liliana, like you said, like all these things seem to fit so well together.
Right. If there was one sort of like archetype that I felt like they sort of said, here you go.
Yeah.
I felt it was this one. Like, and that's fine, you know, for what it's worth in terms of giving people direction and also giving something for people to combat. You know what I mean? Like, you know this is going to be a thing.
Yep.
You need to be aware of it, and so you need to make sure that you can fight it on that axis, have some sort of answer to Unbearable Rights, or not just let them run over you with it. So, Vampire Interloper, though, I think I might actually put that guy in the cube.
I hate cards like this.
He's so good. Why?
Has evasion and it can't block.
So
It gives you no choices. You attack with it every turn.
yeah. That's his
There's-
job.
There's no. I understand that's his job, but people could at least like block with it because they don't want to take damage. But this doesn't even give them the option.
Right.
They have no choice but to make like the correct play every turn. It's just annoying.
Why do they have to make the correct play every turn?
Well, why do they make it so the card makes them make the correct play?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sometimes you have to usher in the right plays to people. Sometimes they don't understand. You know, sometimes new players are like, I don't want to attack with my 2/1 flyer because he can block and stuff.
Yeah.
When in actuality, they should be attacking. And
Right.
So that's what that's telling them.
But I don't know if they figure that out though. I think that they just accidentally make the right play every time.
Accidentally.
Well, it's good. Good card.
Victim of Night. I got this card killed my angel. This card killed my angelic overseer in sealed, and there was tears. It was not cool, man. That was my sweet, awesome rare. That was my bomb rare, and they just killed it.
I like that black has removal that can kill almost anything. It's like go for the throat in this thing. It's like so close.
Yeah. If only they had a card that went in every deck that went -5/-5.
Yeah.
So Village Cannibals, easily one of the creepiest arts in the set.
Very funny card.
I mean, it's funny for me. It's just I love it because it is as creepy as it is. It really is freaky looking.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have for the art description. That sounded awesome. Can you make it feel like someone's going to eat you? Go. So how about those Grizzly Bears?
It's playable compared to the other zombies.
Ah.
It is playable and standard constructed.
Yeah, Diregraph. He's okay.
Yeah, but you can't play 12 of those things. You got to play some Grizzly Bears too.
Diregraph into the Walking Corpse. Yeah. Jerry, breaking standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we do this.
It's a good start.
That's how we do. All right. So that was all of the black cards from Innistrad. We thank you guys for watching. We will be back here tomorrow, for all the red cards. So until next time, this is Evan Earl and Gerry Thompson tapping the cards so you don't have to.
I always like the fatties.